5 shopping bags dangled from Finn Riley's fingers as he navigated through the crowded mall, his 7-year-old daughter Lily skipping alongside him. The weight of the bags was nothing compared to the heaviness in his chest today, marked another failed job interview, his 3rd this month. "Daddy, can we get ice cream?" Lily tugged at his worn denim jacket, her wide blue eyes so much like her mother's looking up at him hopefully. Finn mentally calculated the remaining cash in his wallet. $23 and change to last until his next handyman gig on Monday. But Lily had been so patient during his interview, sitting quietly in the waiting area with her coloring book, while he tried to convince yet another employer that his lack of a college degree didn't mean he couldn't manage their warehouse operations. "Sure, pumpkin. 1 scoop though, okay?" He ruffled her sandy blonde curls, forcing a smile to hide the worry lines that seemed permanently etched around his eyes these days. "You're the best daddy ever." Lily's delighted grin made the financial sacrifice worth it. Since losing his wife to cancer 2 years ago, these small moments of joy with his daughter kept him going through the endless cycle of temp jobs, missed bill payments, and sleepless nights. They approached the food court, Lily chattering about her upcoming school science project, when Finn noticed a woman at the cell phone kiosk looking increasingly uncomfortable. The salesman, tall, with slicked-back hair and an aggressive stance, had backed her against the counter, waving a phone contract in her face. "Madam, this is a limited-time offer that expires today. Someone in your position should understand the value proposition here." The salesman's voice carried across the corridor, condescending and pushy. "I've said no 3 times now," the woman replied, her voice firm but strained. She was dressed casually in jeans and a simple blouse, her dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. "Please respect my decision." The salesman stepped closer. "Look, I can tell you're the type who appreciates quality. Why don't we discuss this over coffee? I can explain the features more, personally." Finn felt a flicker of anger. He'd seen this type before, predatory sales tactics verging on harassment, especially toward women shopping alone. "Lily, stay right here for just a second, okay?" Finn set down his bags beside a bench. "Count to 20, and I'll be right back." Lily nodded solemnly, beginning her count as Finn strode toward the kiosk. "Excuse me," Finn interrupted, positioning himself slightly between the woman and the salesman. "I think the lady said she's not interested." The salesman sized Finn up, taking in his worn work boots and the fraying edges of his jacket. "This is a private business conversation. I don't think it concerns you." When someone says no 3 times and you keep pushing, it stops being business and starts being harassment, Finn replied evenly, meeting the man's gaze without flinching. "Do you have any idea who you're talking to?" the salesman sneered. "I'm the top seller in this district. Congratulations." Finn's voice remained calm. "But that doesn't give you the right to corner someone who's clearly uncomfortable." The woman behind him cleared her throat. "Thank you, but I can handle this." Finn glanced back at her, noticing for the first time the quiet confidence in her hazel eyes. "I'm sure you can, madam. Just thought you might appreciate a friendly interruption." He turned back to the salesman. "The lady's not interested in your phone plan or your coffee invitation. I suggest you find someone else to meet your quota." The salesman's face reddened. "You can't talk to me like that. I'll call security." "For what? Standing here, I'm just a customer interested in..." Finn glanced at the display. "Phone cases. My daughter needs one. Pink, preferably." The woman behind him stifled what sounded like a laugh. The salesman glared at both of them before stalking off, muttering about wasting time on people who can't afford premium plans anyway. Finn turned to the woman. "Sorry for jumping in like that. I have a bit of a thing about pushy salespeople." "No, thank you." He was becoming rather insistent. She extended her hand. "Hope Chandler. Finn Riley." He shook her hand, noting her firm grip. "And my daughter Lily is over there, probably reaching 20 in her count by now." Hope glanced toward Lily, who was indeed still counting aloud while carefully guarding Finn's shopping bags. "She seems lovely. How old is she?" 7 going on 17, Finn smiled. Smart as a whip and twice as quick to tell me when I'm wrong. Daddy, I counted to 50, Lily called, abandoning her post to skip toward them. That's 25% more than requested. Excellent work ethic, Hope commented with a smile. Finn raised an eyebrow. You sound like you evaluate performance metrics for a living. Something like that, Hope replied vaguely. Lily arrived, immediately scrutinizing Hope with unabashed curiosity. Are you Daddy's friend? He doesn't have many lady friends. Finn felt his face flush. Lily, remember our conversation about private versus public information? Hope crouched down to Lily's level. I'm Hope. Your dad just helped me with a problem, so I guess that makes us new friends. Lily nodded seriously. Daddy helps lots of people. He fixed Mrs. Gonzalez's sink last week when it exploded and water went everywhere, and he didn't even charge her because her cat just had surgery. Hope's eyes flickered up to Finn, who shrugged self-consciously. It wasn't a complicated job. We're getting ice cream, Lily announced. Do you want some? Daddy says I can only have one scoop because we have to be economical. Economical, Finn corrected gently. Hope seemed to hesitate, checking her watch. Actually, I was about to grab lunch. Would you both like to join me? My treat, as thanks for the rescue. Finn immediately stiffened. That's not necessary. I didn't step in expecting anything. I know that, Hope said simply, but I was going to eat alone and company would be nice, unless you have other plans. Before Finn could formulate a polite refusal, Lily bounced excitedly. Can we, Daddy, please? Hope seems nice, not like that lady at the grocery store who kept touching your arm and laughing too loud. Finn closed his eyes briefly, mortified. Lily. Hope's laughter was warm and genuine. I promise not to laugh too loud or invade personal space. Finn found himself smiling despite his embarrassment. There was something refreshingly straightforward about Hope, no pretense or artificial sweetness. Lunch would be nice, but only if you let me get the tip. Deal, Hope agreed. They settled on a small Italian restaurant at the edge of the mall. Finn was relieved. It wasn't one of the upscale places with linen napkins and wine lists his pride could only bend so far. Lily immediately dove into the children's menu coloring page while Finn tried not to wince at the prices. So, what brings you to the mall on a Friday afternoon? Hope asked after they ordered. Job interview at the distribution center, Finn replied, automatically reaching to straighten his tie before remembering he'd already removed it. They're looking for a shift supervisor. How did it go? Let's just say I won't be buying a new suit to celebrate. Finn took a sip of water. They wanted someone with a business degree, which apparently matters more than 10 years of warehouse experience. Hope frowned slightly. That seems short-sighted of them. It's the way things are now. Everyone wants credentials. Finn shrugged, determined not to sound bitter. I'll find something else, always do. What kind of work are you looking for specifically? Anything stable with decent hours, Finn admitted. After my wife passed, I needed to switch from night shifts to be there when Lily gets home from school, limited my options. Hope's expression softened. I'm sorry about your wife. It's been 2 years, Finn said quietly. We're managing. Daddy's super good at fixing things, Lily piped up, not looking up from her coloring. He can fix cars and sinks and broken doors, and he built me a treehouse that doesn't even wobble. Is that right? Hope smiled at Lily before turning back to Finn. So you're handy. Former military, specialized in vehicle maintenance, Finn explained. Did construction for a while after getting out, then warehouse management. Now I pick up handyman jobs between interviews. What about you? Finn asked, eager to shift the conversation away from his employment struggles. What do you do? Hope took a moment before answering. I work in corporate development, evaluating systems, improving efficiency. Sounds important, Finn commented. Some days more than others, she replied. Today I was supposed to be incognito, actually. My assistant usually handles my phone upgrades, but I wanted to see the customer experience firsthand. She smiled wryly. It was certainly educational. Their food arrived, momentarily pausing the conversation. Finn watched as Hope interacted with Lily, asking thoughtful questions about her school and friends. Unlike many adults who spoke to children with exaggerated enthusiasm or condescension, Hope addressed his daughter with genuine interest, listening carefully to her rambling explanations about her class hamster's exercise habits. By the time they finished lunch, Lily had completely warmed to Hope, showing her the collection of small rocks she kept in her coat pocket, only the special ones with personalities. "This gray one is the grandmother rock," Lily explained seriously. "She watches over all the baby rocks." "Very important job," Hope agreed, examining the ordinary pebble with appropriate gravity. "She has wise edges." Finn felt a familiar ache watching them. Lily missed having a woman in her life. Her grandmothers both lived out of state, and while her teacher was wonderful, it wasn't the same. He'd had a few dates since Claire died, but nothing serious, partially because Lily's well-being had to come first, but also because no one had sparked any real interest. Until now, perhaps. He found himself studying Hope when she wasn't looking, the thoughtful way she listened, how her eyes crinkled slightly when she smiled, the quiet confidence in her posture. "I should let you two get back to your day," Hope said as they exited the restaurant. "Thank you for the company." "Thank you for lunch," Finn replied. "And ice cream," Lily added, referring to the dessert Hope had insisted on ordering despite Finn's protests. Hope crouched down to Lily's level again. "It was very nice meeting you, Lily. Thank you for sharing your rock family with me." Without warning, Lily threw her arms around Hope's neck. Finn started to apologize, but Hope returned the hug naturally, patting Lily's back. "Will we see you again?" Lily asked as she pulled away. Hope glanced up at Finn, a question in her eyes. "That depends," Finn said carefully. "Hope probably has a busy schedule." Hope reached into her purse and pulled out a business card, handing it to Finn. "My personal number is on the back. I'd like to hear how your job search goes." Finn accepted the card, turning it over to see her handwritten number before slipping it into his pocket. "Thanks. Maybe I'll give you a call sometime." They said their goodbyes, and Finn watched as Hope walked away, disappearing into the crowd of shoppers. "I like her, Daddy," Lily declared. "She seemed nice," Finn agreed, picking up their shopping bags. It wasn't until they reached the car that Finn took out Hope's card again, intending to program her number into his phone. He stared at the front of the card, his eyes widening as he read. Hope Chandler, Chief Executive Officer, Meridian Technologies. Beneath her name was the logo of one of the largest tech companies in the state, a corporation that employed thousands and occupied the gleaming tower downtown. "Well, damn," Finn muttered, then glanced quickly at Lily to make sure she hadn't heard. The job rejection from earlier suddenly felt insignificant compared to the realization that he'd just lectured a CEO about economizing on ice cream scoops. The weekend passed in a blur of household repairs and helping Lily with her science project. By Sunday night, Finn had convinced himself not to call Hope. What could a CEO possibly want with a struggling single dad? The lunch had been a thank you gesture, nothing more. Monday morning arrived with a call from his regular handyman client, Mrs. Winters, asking if he could come fix her garden irrigation system that afternoon. "Absolutely," Finn agreed, grateful for the work. "After I drop Lily at school, I'll stop by the hardware store and be there around 10. The job at Mrs. Winters took longer than expected. The irrigation problem turned out to be a cracked main pipe that required digging up part of her flower bed. By the time Finn finished, it was nearly 2 o'clock, and he was covered in dirt and sweat. "You're a lifesaver, Finn," Mrs. Winters said, handing him payment plus a generous tip. "The garden would have been ruined without you." "Happy to help," Finn replied, tucking the money into his wallet. He needed to clean up before picking Lily up from school at 3. As he loaded his tools into his truck, his phone rang with an unknown number. "Finn Riley," he answered, wedging the phone between his ear and shoulder as he closed the truck's tailgate. "Mr. Riley, This is Natalie Brooks from Meridian Technologies. I'm calling to schedule an interview. Finn froze. An interview? I don't remember applying for a position at Meridian. You were personally recommended by Miss Chandler for our facilities operations manager position. Are you interested in interviewing? Finn's mind raced. Hope had recommended him for a job, without even asking. Part of him felt grateful, but another part bristled at what felt like charity. Can I ask what this position entails? He asked carefully. Overseeing maintenance operations for our main campus, managing a team of technicians, developing preventative maintenance protocols. The position requires extensive hands-on experience rather than formal education. Miss Chandler mentioned your military background and technical expertise. It actually sounded perfect for his skill set. Still, Finn hesitated. Could I call you back about this? I need to check my schedule. It was a transparent excuse, but he needed time to think. Of course. Miss Chandler did mention you might have reservations. She said to tell you this isn't charity, we have a genuine need, and she believes you're qualified. Finn smiled despite himself. She'd anticipated his reaction exactly. After hanging up, he sat in his truck debating what to do. Finally, he pulled out Hope's card and dialed her personal number. She answered on the third ring. Hope Chandler. You didn't mention you were a CEO, Finn said without preamble. There was a pause before Hope replied. Would it have changed our conversation if I had? Probably, Finn admitted. I just got a call about a job at your company. Is that a problem? Her voice was calm, professional. I don't need handouts, Hope. That's good, because I don't give them, she replied evenly. Meridian needs someone who understands systems and can solve problems creatively. Your daughter spent an hour telling me about all the things you've built and fixed. When you mentioned your military background and experience, it seemed like a potential match for an opening we've been struggling to fill. So this isn't because you felt sorry for me, the single dad with the cute kid. Hope sighed audibly. Finn, my company employs over 3,000 people. I don't risk our operations on sympathy hires. If you're not interested, that's fine, but don't insult both of us by suggesting I'd compromise my business for a lunch acquaintance. Properly chastised, Finn ran a hand through his hair. You're right, I'm sorry. Apology accepted. Her tone softened slightly. The position is real, the need is genuine, and based on our conversation, you might be qualified. That's it. Then I'd like to interview, Finn said. Good, HR will handle the details. She paused. And Finn, wear whatever you're comfortable in. The person who interviews you will be looking at your knowledge, not your suit. After they hung up, Finn sat for a moment, processing the conversation. Hope hadn't mentioned seeing him again outside of work, which was probably for the best. The CEO of Meridian Technologies had better things to do than date a guy who just applied to work for her. The interview was scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. Finn arranged for his elderly neighbor to watch Lily after school and spent Tuesday night researching Meridian Technologies so he'd be prepared. When he arrived at the sleek downtown headquarters, Finn felt out of place despite Hope's reassurance about attire. He'd compromised with khakis and a button-down shirt, not a suit, but better than his usual work clothes. The receptionist directed him to the 14th floor, where a friendly HR manager named Marcus greeted him. Miss Chandler mentioned you, Marcus said, as he led Finn to a conference room. She rarely makes personal recommendations. We only met briefly, Finn clarified, not wanting any misconceptions. Even more unusual, Marcus replied with a smile. The interview itself was refreshingly practical. After basic questions about his experience, the facilities director, a no-nonsense woman named Elaine, took him on a tour of the building's mechanical systems, asking specific questions about how he'd approach various maintenance scenarios. By the end of the 3-hour process, Finn felt cautiously optimistic. He'd answered honestly about both his capabilities and limitations, and Elaine had seemed impressed by his practical solutions to the hypothetical problems she'd posed. We'll be in touch by the end of the week, Marcus told him as they shook hands at the elevator. Hope was nowhere to be seen during his visit, which Finn told himself was a relief. He didn't need the distraction while trying to focus on the opportunity. On Friday morning, while fixing a leaky faucet for a regular client, Finn's phone rang. It was Marcus from Meridian. "We'd like to offer you the position," Marcus said after brief pleasantries. "Elaine was particularly impressed with your systematic approach to the preventative maintenance scenarios." Finn listened as Marcus outlined the salary and benefits package, his grip tightening on the phone as the numbers registered. It was nearly twice what he'd been making at his last steady job, with health insurance that would cover both him and Lily. Wow, yes, I accept," Finn managed to say. "Excellent, we'll email the formal offer letter today. Can you start on Monday?" "We'll need a full week for orientation and training." After confirming the details and hanging up, Finn sat on the edge of the bathtub, momentarily overwhelmed. This would change everything for him and Lily: financial stability, regular hours, benefits. No more scrambling for handyman gigs or worrying about making rent. His second thought was of Hope. Had she been involved in the final decision, or had she simply made the introduction and stepped back? He hadn't heard from her since their phone call on Monday. That evening, after celebrating the news with Lily over her favorite macaroni and cheese dinner, Finn decided to text Hope. "Got the job. Wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. Starting Monday." Her reply came an hour later. "Congratulations. Your qualifications earned you the position. I hope it works out well for you and Lily." The response felt professional, distant. Finn wasn't sure what he'd expected, but he found himself disappointed. He typed and deleted several responses before finally settling on, "Still, I appreciate the connection. Maybe I could thank you properly sometime." Coffee. The 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times before her answer came through. "That might be complicated given the circumstances, but I wish you all the best." The rejection stung more than it should have for someone he'd only met once. Finn set his phone down and focused on helping Lily prepare for bed, telling himself it was for the best. Office romances were messy, and dating the CEO would be a complication he didn't need while starting a new job. Monday arrived with a mixture of excitement and nerves. Finn dropped Lily at school with a promise to pick her up himself. No after-school program needed now that he'd have regular hours, and headed downtown to begin his new chapter at Meridian. The first few days were a whirlwind of orientation, paperwork, and introductions to his team of 12 maintenance technicians. By Thursday, Finn was beginning to get comfortable with the sprawling campus and its complex systems. His military background served him well in understanding the chain of command and documentation requirements, while his years of hands-on work gave him credibility with the technicians. He hadn't seen Hope, though he'd caught glimpses of her name in company-wide emails. According to office gossip, she was tied up in strategic planning meetings with the board of directors. On Friday afternoon, Finn was inspecting the HVAC system on the executive floor when the elevator doors opened, and Hope emerged, deep in conversation with 2 men in expensive suits. She was dressed in a tailored navy dress and heels, looking every inch the powerful CEO, a stark contrast to the casual woman he'd met at the mall. Finn stepped back, intending to continue his work without interrupting, but Hope glanced up and saw him. Something flickered in her expression, surprise, perhaps before she composed herself. "Mr. Riley," she acknowledged with a professional nod. "How is your first week going?" "Very well, Miss Chandler," Finn replied, matching her formal tone. "Just familiarizing myself with all the systems." "Excellent." She turned to the men beside her. "Gentlemen, this is Finn Riley, our new facilities operations manager. Finn, these are our board members, Mr. Peterson and Mr. Jacobson." The men nodded politely, but with minimal interest. A maintenance manager clearly didn't register as important to them. Hope, however, lingered after directing them toward the boardroom. "Is everything working out as you hoped?" she asked, her voice lowering slightly. Better than I expected, Finn admitted. It's a good team. I'm glad. She hesitated, glancing toward the boardroom where the men were waiting. Finn, about my text response last week, no explanation needed, Finn interrupted. You're the CEO, I'm the maintenance manager. Professional boundaries make sense. Hope studied his face for a moment. Yes, well, I should get back to my meeting. Of course. Finn stepped aside, allowing her to pass. Have a good weekend, Miss Chandler. You too, Mr. Riley. Finn watched her walk away, telling himself the twinge of regret was irrational. They barely knew each other. The attraction he'd felt had been one-sided, obviously. 2 weeks passed. Finn settled into his role, quickly earning the respect of his team through his hands-on approach and willingness to listen to their insights. Lily was thriving with the new stability in their lives, delighted that Finn could reliably pick her up from school each day and help with homework, without being distracted by job searches or financial worries. On a Wednesday afternoon, Finn was reviewing maintenance logs in his office when his phone buzzed with a company-wide emergency alert. Water leak in the executive conference room, potential damage to the ceiling and electrical systems. Finn grabbed his tools and headed upstairs immediately, arriving to find water cascading from a sprinkler pipe that had ruptured. The room was empty except for Hope, who was frantically moving electronic equipment away from the spreading puddle. Leave that it could be an electrical hazard, Finn called, rushing to the utility panel to shut off the water to that section. Hope stepped back, her tailored suit already spattered with water. It happened suddenly. 1 minute we were in a meeting, the next there was water everywhere. Finn located the valve and turned it, stopping the flow. Was anyone hurt? No, just startled. I sent everyone else away while I called maintenance. Smart move. Finn assessed the damage. The water had spread across the conference table and was dripping onto the carpet, but didn't appear to have reached any wall outlets yet. We need to get this cleaned up quickly before it seeps through to the floor below. Hope nodded, already pulling out her phone. I'll have housekeeping bring up extractors. They worked side by side for the next 20 minutes, Hope having discarded her suit jacket and rolled up her sleeves to help move furniture away from the wet areas. Finn was impressed by her practicality. Many executives would have simply delegated the problem and left. As they waited for the cleaning crew to arrive with industrial fans, Hope leaned against the wall, brushing damp strands of hair from her face. Well, that was exciting. Just another day in facilities management, Finn replied with a smile, though usually the CEO doesn't help mop up. I've never been afraid of getting my hands dirty. She glanced down at her water-spotted silk blouse and tailored pants, though this outfit may be a loss. Hazard pay, Finn suggested. Maybe expense it. Hope laughed, a genuine sound that echoed in the empty conference room. I'll write myself a memo. The moment felt different from their previous interactions, less guarded, more authentic. Perhaps it was the absurdity of the situation or the adrenaline from responding to the emergency, but Finn found himself wanting to extend the conversation. How are things with you, besides unexpected indoor rain showers? Hope seemed surprised by the personal question. Busy. End of quarter always is. She paused. How's Lily adjusting to your new schedule? Loving it. She made friends with our neighbor's granddaughter who visits on Saturdays. They've formed some kind of secret club in the backyard treehouse. The famous non-wobbly treehouse, Hope smiled. I remember. The cleaning crew arrived, breaking the moment. Hope straightened, once again the CEO, as she directed them on what needed priority attention. Finn coordinated with his own team members who had arrived to assess the pipe damage. It was nearly 7 o'clock by the time everything was under control. The conference room was still unusable, but the water had been extracted, fans were running, and a temporary repair had been made to the pipe, pending a more permanent fix over the weekend. Thank you for your quick response, Hope said as they stood in the hallway outside the damaged room. Most of the staff had gone home, leaving the executive floor quiet. Just doing my job, Finn replied. Though I should get home to Lily. My neighbor is watching her, but I didn't expect to be this late. Hope nodded. Of course. She hesitated, then added, Finn, would you and Lily like to have dinner sometime? Not here, obviously, somewhere neutral. The invitation caught him off guard. I thought you were concerned about complications. I am, she admitted, but I've been thinking about it and perhaps I was too hasty. We could start with dinner as friends and see where it goes, if anywhere. Finn studied her face, seeing a vulnerability that hadn't been present in their previous interactions. I'd like that, and Lily would be thrilled. She still talks about your rock wisdom. Hope smiled. Is Saturday evening possible around 6? Perfect. Finn found himself grinning. I should warn you, though Lily will probably show you her entire rock collection this time, it's expanded significantly. I look forward to meeting all the new additions, Hope replied, her eyes warm. As Finn drove home that evening, he felt lighter than he had in months. The future suddenly seemed full of possibilities, not just professionally, but personally as well. He wasn't naive enough to think that dating a CEO would be simple, but Hope had shown herself to be more than her title. She was someone who helped clean up flooded conference rooms, who treated his daughter with genuine respect, who saw value in his skills when others overlooked him. Whatever complications might come, Finn decided as he pulled into his driveway, some things were worth the risk. Saturday evening arrived with perfect early autumn weather. Finn had spent the morning helping Lily clean and organize her room, a process that involved lengthy negotiations about which toys could be relocated to make space for her growing rock family. Hope is coming to dinner tonight, he reminded Lily as they sorted through a box of mismatched doll clothes. Lily looked up, her expression brightening. The nice lady from the mall, the one who didn't laugh too loud. That's the one, Finn chuckled. And yes, you can show her your rocks, but maybe not all 500 at once, okay? I'll just show her the Vips, Lily agreed solemnly. Very important pebbles. Finn had suggested a casual family restaurant not far from their modest home. Hope had agreed immediately, saying she was tired of upscale dining and would welcome something simple. They arrived a few minutes early, Lily practically bouncing with excitement. She had insisted on wearing her favorite blue dress and had carefully selected 3 special rocks to bring along in a small velvet pouch, a birthday gift from her grandmother that usually held her baby teeth for the tooth fairy. Hope arrived exactly on time, dressed in jeans and a casual sweater that made her look nothing like the corporate executive Finn had seen directing board members. She smiled broadly when she spotted them waiting outside the restaurant. There you are, she said, approaching with a relaxed confidence. Thank you for the dinner invitation. Thank you for accepting, Finn replied, suddenly aware of how nervous he felt. This wasn't a business interaction anymore, this was definitely a date. Hope. I brought my special rocks to show you, Lily announced, holding up her velvet pouch. I can't wait to see them, Hope replied, genuinely. She glanced at Finn. Is it okay if I give her something? I brought a small gift. Finn nodded, curious, as Hope reached into her purse and pulled out a small box, handing it to Lily. Lily opened it carefully, gasping when she saw the contents, a polished purple stone on a simple silver chain. It's beautiful. It's amethyst, Hope explained. My grandmother gave me one when I was about your age. She said it helps you think clearly and be brave. Like Daddy, Lily said matter-of-factly. He's the bravest person ever. Hope's eyes met Finn's, and he felt something shift between them, a deepening connection, an unspoken understanding. I think you might be right about that, Hope said softly. Dinner passed in easy conversation. Hope asked Lily about school and listened attentively to her stories, occasionally catching Finn's eye with an amused smile when Lily's narration took particularly imaginative turns. There was no mention of Meridian Technologies or job responsibilities, just 3 people enjoying each other's company. After dinner, they strolled through the nearby park where an outdoor art festival was taking place. Street musicians played while local artists displayed their work in small booths. Lily ran ahead to watch a puppet show, leaving Finn and Hope walking side by side. "This is nice," Hope said, breaking a comfortable silence. "Different from my usual Saturday nights." "What are those like?" Finn asked, genuinely curious about her life outside the office. "Work, usually," she admitted. "Reports, emails, preparation for the week ahead, occasionally a charity gala or business dinner. Sounds glamorous." Hope shook her head. "It's isolating, actually. When you reach a certain position, people stop seeing you as a person." "I'm a title, a resource, a connection, rarely just hope." Finn understood suddenly why she hadn't immediately identified herself as a CEO when they met. "Is that why you were at the mall alone that day? No assistant, no entourage?" "Yes," she confirmed. "I wanted a few hours of anonymity." "And then that pushy salesman cornered me, and you stepped in without having any idea who I was." She smiled at the memory. "It was refreshing." "I'd have done the same even if I had known," Finn said. "I believe you would have," Hope replied, her hand briefly touching his arm. The simple contact sent warmth through him. They watched Lily laugh at the puppet show, standing close enough that their shoulders occasionally brushed. "Can I ask you something?" Finn said after a moment. "Of course." "Why did you change your mind about the complications?" Hope considered the question carefully. "After I saw you at work that day, how quickly you'd integrated, how respected you already were, I realized I'd made an assumption that dating would automatically create problems. But then I thought, why not at least explore the possibility? Life is full of complications anyway. Some are worth embracing. Like dating a single dad with a rock collecting 7-year-old, Finn suggested with a smile. "Exactly like that," Hope agreed. "Though I should confess the facilities manager reports to operations, not directly to me, so there's no direct supervisory conflict." "You checked the HR policy," Finn noted, amused. "I'm thorough," Hope shrugged, a hint of playfulness in her expression. "But even if there had been a technical issue, I think I would have found a solution." "You're intriguing, Finn Riley. And you're surprising, Hope Chandler." As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the park, Lily returned from the puppet show to report every detail of the performance. They walked back toward the parking lot together, Lily between them, occasionally reaching for both their hands to swing herself forward. At Finn's truck, they paused. Lily was clearly tired, leaning against her father's leg as the excitement of the evening caught up with her. "I had a wonderful time," Hope said, her eyes meeting Finn's over Lily's head. "So did we," Finn replied. "We should do it again, maybe next weekend." "I'd like that." Hope crouched down to Lily's level. "Thank you for showing me your special rocks. They're even more impressive than I imagined. You can come see my treehouse next time," Lily offered with a yawn. "It doesn't wobble at all." "I'd be honored," Hope said seriously, giving Lily a quick hug before standing. As Finn helped Lily into her booster seat, Hope waited nearby. When he closed the door, he turned to find her standing closer than expected. "This might be complicated," he said quietly. "You should know Lily comes first for me always, and I'm still adjusting to the new job, figuring things out." "I understand," Hope replied. "I have complications, 2 long hours, public scrutiny, trust issues from past relationships where my position mattered more than me." "So we go slowly," Finn suggested. "See where it leads." "Slowly sounds perfect." Hope stepped forward and kissed his cheek, her hand lightly touching his shoulder. "Good night, Finn." He caught her hand before she could step away, squeezing it gently. "Good night, Hope." As he drove home with a sleepy Lily in the backseat, Finn felt a sense of possibility he hadn't experienced in years. His life had changed dramatically in just a few weeks, from struggling to make ends meet to finding stability, from chance encounter to potential relationship. "Do you like Hope, Daddy?" Lily asked drowsily from the backseat. Finn glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "I do. Is that okay with you?" Lily nodded, fingering the amethyst necklace Hope had given her. "She makes you smile the way you used to in the pictures with Mommy." Finn's heart tightened. "Nobody will ever replace your mom, Pumpkin." "I know," Lily said simply. But Mommy told me before she went to heaven that she wanted us to be happy. Are you happy, Daddy? Finn thought about the question as he drove through the quiet streets toward home. Just weeks ago, he'd been worried about making rent, facing another job rejection, struggling to maintain optimism for Lily's sake. Now, he had meaningful work, financial security, and the beginning of something that felt genuine with someone who really saw him for who he was. Yes, he answered truthfully. I think I'm starting to be. Good, Lily murmured, her eyes drifting closed. Me too. 6 months later, Finn stood in his backyard, putting the finishing touches on an expanded treehouse, this one with 2 sections connected by a small rope bridge. Lily and Hope were below, organizing the refreshments for the grand opening ceremony Lily had planned. Careful with those nails, Hope called up to him. We don't need another emergency room visit. Finn grinned down at her, remembering the minor disaster 3 months earlier when he'd accidentally hammered his thumb while distracted by Hope arriving for their date. That was one time, he protested, and it got me sympathy points. It got you a tetanus shot and Lily telling everyone at school that her daddy cried, Hope countered, smiling. I did not cry, Finn insisted. I expressed pain vocally. Very vocally, Hope agreed, winking at Lily, who giggled. In the months since their first dinner, Hope had become a regular presence in their lives. She joined them for movie nights and helped Lily with science projects. Finn had been introduced to her small circle of close friends, people who knew her before she became CEO and treated her accordingly. There had been adjustments and learning curves. Hope's schedule sometimes meant canceled plans or late arrivals. Finn had needed to navigate the complexities of dating someone whose name occasionally appeared in business publications. But they had established boundaries and expectations that worked for both of them, always keeping Lily's well-being at the center of their decisions. As Finn climbed down from the treehouse, he watched Hope help Lily arrange cookies on a plate, their heads bent together in serious consultation about optimal chocolate chip distribution. The sight filled him with a contentment he'd thought he might never feel again after Claire died. Hope looked up, catching him watching them. What? Nothing, he said, crossing the yard to join them, just thinking about how different things were a year ago. Hope's expression softened. She knew the full story now, the struggles after Claire's death, the financial hardships, the determination to create stability for Lily despite overwhelming odds. Life can change quickly, she agreed, reaching for his hand. Sometimes because a pushy salesman doesn't know when to quit, Finn added, interlacing his fingers with hers. And sometimes because a dad steps in to help a stranger, Hope replied. Are you guys being mushy again? Lily asked, looking up from her cookie arrangement with exaggerated disgust that couldn't quite hide her satisfaction at seeing them together. Absolutely not, Finn denied, dropping Hope's hand to scoop Lily up into a bear hug. We're being completely professional and serious. Lily squealed with laughter as Finn spun her around. When he set her down, she immediately grabbed both their hands, tugging them toward the treehouse. Come on, it's time for the grand opening. As they climbed the ladder to the expanded treehouse, now featuring not only Lily's original space, but an adjoining adult-sized section with a small bench where Finn and Hope could sit comfortably, Finn reflected on how completely his life had transformed. The struggling dad who had once counted pennies for ice cream now headed a department at a major corporation. The lonely widower who had focused solely on survival now found himself falling in love again, building something new without diminishing the past. Later that evening, after Lily had gone to bed exhausted from the excitement of the treehouse opening, Finn and Hope sat on his back porch, a comfortable silence between them as they watched the stars appear. I have something for you, Hope said eventually, reaching into her pocket. She handed him a small, smooth stone ordinary, except for a thin vein of quartz running through its center. Are you inducting me into the rock collection? Finn asked with a smile. Lily helped me pick it out, Hope explained. She says this one represents strength with a streak of light running through it. It reminded her of you. Finn turned the stone over in his hand, surprisingly moved by the simple gift. Thank you. There's more, Hope said, her voice slightly nervous. I've been offered a position on the National Board of Technology Executives. It would mean some travel, but also an opportunity to shift my role at Meridian to chairman rather than CEO. More strategic oversight, less day-to-day management. That sounds like a great opportunity, Finn said, watching her carefully. Why do I sense there's more to it? Hope took a deep breath. I've been thinking about balance, about what matters. The last 6 months with you and Lily have shown me there's more to life than quarterly reports and board meetings. You're not giving up your career because of us, Finn said immediately. That's not what I want. Neither do I, Hope assured him. But I want to reshape it in a way that leaves room for other priorities, for family. She reached for his hand. For us, if that's something you might want too. Finn felt his heart expand at the word family at the future it suggested. I think we might want that very much, he said, pulling her closer. Good, Hope whispered as their lips met in a kiss that held both promise and certainty. Because I'm falling in love with both of you, and I'm tired of moving slowly. Under the stars, a CEO and a facilities manager labels that mattered less with each passing day planned their future together, proving that sometimes the most unexpected encounters lead to the most perfect connections. And in her bedroom, surrounded by her beloved rock collection now displayed on shelves built by her father with organizational advice from Hope, Lily Riley dreamed of adventures in her expanded treehouse, secure in the knowledge that her family, once broken, had found its way to wholeness again.